it's only when you sort of scratch underneath the surface when you sort of start to see the conditions that people live in. But when you go to the houses where they live, and you see that they live in little more than a shack with, you know, more holes in the roof than you can count, and that when it rains, it just pours down.
It's just, you know, you wonder, wow, you know, how are these kids gonna make it? If I hadn't come here, maybe I'd feel differently about that. And I was always one who said, oh, well, you know, there are kids here who need help. But one of the things that's really touched me, it's opened my eyes, is that it's a different world. It really is. It's a different place. And when you see kids who, you know, are 13 years old and weigh 18 pounds, and you can pick them up and you can compare them to that bag of sugar that you just bought in the grocery store, you know, that does something to you. You know, it really does.
Poverty has such a different meaning in different areas, and in the States, you know, we consider poverty under whatever income line, and then you come here and poverty is such a dramatically different group of people. You know, it's not only the people who don't have much money, they may not have running water, they may not have electricity, and these are things that in the States, you know, people who have their own home can still be considered in poverty. And so it's just really interesting to compare the different forms of poverty in different places.
Once you really understand the situation of Nicaragua, the poverty, it's not something you can turn your back on. It's really not. You can't go home and live your life the way you did beforehand.
We were able to take part in a feeding, an actual, you know, handing food out. You get there and you see that, wow, they don't have clean dishes and clean utensils, and the line is endless. I mean, it's just so many people that you learn that's all they ate today, and that's all they're gonna eat today. I mean, you have folks who bring, you know, their only plate, you know, and this is their plate, and it really, because they don't have any water, honestly, it's got the food on it from the day before, and they bring it up for us to put food on, you know, and that yeah, it really drives home. I mean, that's the level of poverty that I was able to see, and it shocked me, honestly. It was something that wow.
These children don't have a choice where they're born. They don't have a choice what family they're born in. They don't have a choice in whether they can go out and find food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's very difficult for them.
I have been a teacher in the secular system for a number of years. The one difference between all of that and coming to Nicaragua is that I have never ever taught students that are desperate to learn. They will do extra, they will do anything, they just want to learn, and they're so happy to be in the classroom. It's a joy and a privilege for me to teach. They take so much pride in their work, and they make the sacrifice to have education.
These kids are receiving bilingual Christian education, Spanish, English, computers in the computer lab as well, giving them the opportunity for better jobs in the future. All at just $25 a month per student. It really does amaze me how, for so little, it's something we take for granted in the United States, that you know, our cell phone bill every month can put 4 students completely through school.
Another great need would be to sponsor the children over at the school, because not only are they getting a great Christian education where they're being prayed with and they're learning Christian songs and they're getting an education, but they also get a daily lunch every day after school.
I started coming to Nicaragua in 2001, and it so touched my heart that in 2005 I moved here permanently. For years, I prayed that I'd have a chance to take in hurting kids that are in need, and in 2006 that really became a reality. If I could do anything with my life or be anybody, I wouldn't change a thing. There's nothing that brings greater happiness or joy than doing exactly what we're doing here. So many of these children that we rescue have never had anyone give them a hug or a kiss, or have never heard the words "I love you" in their life. And when we rescue them and we're able to do that to them and see how they open up and how they start to receive that love and how they begin to even show love themselves, it's just amazing. It touches my heart every time one of these little ones call me Mama, or to hear them call Leo Papa. And it's just such an honor for us to be able to fulfill that role in their lives that they've never had anyone fulfill before. Every night we have devotionals in our home, and we share with the kids about how Christ loves them and what He did for them.
Thank you, Lord.
For this day.
For this day.
We love you, Jesus. Amen.
Hey, who wants to pray?
Yeah. Me.
By working with our kids on a spiritual level, it's just amazing to see how they're changing, they're developing, how they're getting a closer walk with the Lord, how we see them make decisions to accept Christ into their lives. And this past year we had several of our older kids in our home that were baptized, and to see what they're going to actually do with their lives in the future as well. You know, I believe the kids in our home are going to be the future leaders of New Hope Children's Foundation here in Nicaragua. And you know, some of them are going to be missionaries, and they're going to go around the world and make a difference.
Like every missionary experience or any experience, you go to sort of give what God has given you and taught you, but what you get in return, just to see God's love in action in their faces, in their play, is 10 times more than you give, and they don't even know that. Just to see God's love in them is amazing.
I love you.
I love you too.
House of Hope is probably one of the most touching ministries of New Hope. And it's one thing to see the kids on videos or to see pictures, but seeing the kids where they come from on the Rio Coco, seeing them in that type of environment, and it's such a hopeless situation when you're anywhere in the Rio Coco. You see these kids who don't have clothes, and you know they don't have food, and they're eating bark off trees to survive. And literally, it looks so hopeless. But when these kids are taken out of there and brought into House of Hope, it's not always immediately, but over time, to see the kids just show emotion and opening up to you, it's worth everything.
In 2010, we rescued 5 babies from this way of life, and one of them is Ophelia. Ophelia was 4 years old. She weighed only 15 pounds. The doctor we took her to told us that this child, I don't think she'll ever walk or talk. You know, it's too late for her. Ophelia had burn marks on her back. She'd been abused by her stepfather. They said that when she would cry, he would throw her off the porch and under the trees so that he could not hear her cries. And it's just amazing today that in just a short amount of time, what God has done in her life. Ophelia runs all over the house, and not only does she speak, but she's speaking 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Mosquito, and You know, before when she didn't want a hug and she didn't want to be loved on, now she's the happiest child in her home that she loves to give hugs and kisses, and she comes running to you to be loved on. So, you know, I think back on it and I think, you know, if God had not led us to rescue Ophelia on that day, she wouldn't be alive now.
When New Hope was in Leito's village, his grandmother came running up to us and she told us that his father had tried to drown him 5 times. The last time he almost succeeded, but Leito's grandmother ran in and tried to save him. She even got hurt in the process. But she brought Leito to us and she begged us to take him and to give him a better life where he could live in an environment where he was loved and cared for. When Leito first came to the children's home, he didn't want to receive affection, he didn't show affection, he didn't want to be touched at all. And now he's completely changed. He loves to play and laugh and smile. He's the first one to come running up to you and ask you to play with him. It's amazing to see the difference in his life. He's like a completely different child.
I got the opportunity to meet Luviana last time I went to House of Hope. She's just 7 years old. Due to neglect or abuse, she lost one of her eyes when she was just a baby. We rescued her from the Rio Coco and brought her back to House of Hope and was able to get her an artificial eye. And the day she got that artificial eye, she was so happy to be somewhat normal, I guess. The eye she has vision in has glaucoma, and she's mostly blind in that eye as well, but you never know it by the way she smiles. Such a happy child. She'll sing and dance around in the living room, and she may not be able to see very well, and her hands hit stuff. It touched my heart so much just to see how, you know, a child who's came from such horrible situations can be so happy just with someone to love them.
Without the help of others, what we do at New Hope Children's Foundation would not be a reality. Who knows if these children would have continued to survive another day? It's only through prayer and support that this is made possible.
My name is Michael Campbell. I'm from England and I'm a New Hope volunteer.
My name is Marjorie Jackson and I'm a New Hope volunteer.
I'm J.D. Ford, and I'm a New Hope volunteer.
My name is Lauren Edinburgh and I'm a New Hope volunteer.
My name is Rebecca Campbell and I am a New Hope volunteer.
My name is Faith Ford and I'm a New Hope volunteer.
Antonio Jackson, and I'm a New Hope volunteer, proudly.
All of us have given of our time, life, and finances to be able to reach these kids. What will you do?
Thank you so much.